Welcome back to the Really Feminine podcast. For those of you watching us on YouTube, I just got to share how cute that is again. Just look at that. I'm just obsessed with that.
Isn't it
so cute? We're going to have a t-shirt with that very soon because I have to have that on me. So I want to start by welcoming you. This is a podcast to share with you all the tips and tools of etiquette, hosting your home. We're going to do some tea time, which is where we get to spill the tea. Mm-hmm. These are questions that you've sent in or you can send in to carlashellis.com/podcast and tell us what you want to know. Give us your tea and we'll answer it for you. Also, we are going to do some emotional etiquette, which I call my freedom formula, which I'm going to give you some tools on how to communicate, be in good relationships, how to get your mind set on those things that are healthy and fun so you can live a great life. And so before I carry on any further, I do want to talk to you about Boies Org. Now, for those of you that don't know what Boies Org is, this is an organization, a nonprofit I founded a little over a decade ago, I think. No, maybe just under 10 years, where we restored girls that were rescued out of sex trafficking. We actually retired the Safe House in 2023, but we are still working with youth, 12 to 15-year-olds, high school girls, and boys now to help educate on how to avoid being exploited and trafficked. And so we're reaching out to you and we're asking you to come alongside of us financially, to support us, to help us continue in this fight to restore those people and those children who have been exploited. Also, I want to ask you to subscribe wherever you're watching. When you hit that subscribe button, when you like and when you comment, it actually helps us to bring this fun content to you. So you get to be involved in helping other people find their freedom by going to boies.org. That's BOCHYS.org. Take a look and see what you could do to help us. So let's roll right into everyone's favorite, all the questions about etiquette. And so I think we're going to have a question here that I'm going to answer, but I really believe that etiquette is a tool that you can use to establish yourself wherever you are. I love that etiquette is a French word that means little signs to tell you the way that you should go. So use this in your back pocket to establish yourself wherever you're at and give yourself some confidence in who you are. So let's talk about some etiquette.
All right. So I think a lot of people struggle with this. I know I certainly do. And even this past weekend when you had this beautiful brunch for my daughter.
Oh, yeah.
And she set up a formal table. And I was like, oh, my gosh, where do I start? Felt myself, getting a little nervous. But how do we know what utensils to use?
On a dinner table.
On a dinner table, a formal setting.
Okay.
So where do we get started?
So this is really a good question because many of us have been sitting at tables, including myself. Now people know what I do, Michelle, so they hawk me. They're just watching everything I do to make sure that they're doing it. And then I feel like so much pressure. What if I'm getting this wrong? What if I forgot? Okay, so etiquette to me is the silent language. Those of us that know it know the ones who know it.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. Right. It doesn't mean that you judge anyone who doesn't know. You just want to know. You just want to know. So one of the tools, and because you can actually go on to our Instagram and watch me actually display this, and TikTok as well and Facebook. But for this actual answer, very easy tool that I use is you start from the outside and roll in. Okay. So if you're sitting at a table and there's 4 or 5 forks on the right side or the left side, or, spoons, and you're like, oh my gosh. And then they're even above you. Mm-hmm. You're like, I don't know. So you always want to know that whatever they've preset is typically going to be the courses that they're going to serve. Okay. So it's going to start from the outside in. So whatever is the outside would be your first course that you would use. Typically a salad is going to be your first course. Sometimes it's a soup, depending on which order the hostess decides to serve that. So obviously when they put your soup down, you grab your soup spoon. Your dessert spoon and fork is always going to be at the top of your plate because that's your last course. So that's going to be sitting at the top. Then on your left is going to be really your forks, the variety of forks that you have. You might have an appetizer fork, then you'll have a salad fork, and then you'll have a dinner fork. So it is definitely another thing we're going to do on this YouTube channel, on my actual show, where we are going to lay out every utensil and say why it looks like this and why you use it for that specific course.
Okay.
So I'm excited about that show that we'll be doing soon, because those are things everyone wants to know.
Yeah.
And again, the more knowledge you have, the more equipped you are, the more confident you are.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
So then
For
another little
sure.
tip to the trade is BMW. When you're sitting at a table, remember the acronym BMW. So your bread is always going to be on your left because it starts from left to right, just like we read, okay? Your bread's always going to be on your left. Your meal is the center. That's your M. And then your W is your water. That's going to be on your right, okay? So bread, meal, water. Remember that when you're looking at your plate, when you're setting your plates. I
And
guess
salad?
that's going to be more, but the plates are actually stacked to the center. So you're going to have typically you'll have if you're setting a table, you can go onto my actual Instagram or all the socials and see this, but you're going to have your placemat first, then your charger. I love a good charger because I love layers. And the charger is just the decorative plate underneath the dinner plate.
Never use a charger.
No.
Okay. I know sometimes.
I know my husband has picked up the charger at a very formal banquet and gone through the buffet line with the charger in his hand. And I wanted to run out of the ballroom. I was like, what are you doing? I was so out of breath. Like I felt like somebody slit my throat and my blood was running out of my neck. He was like, what? And he just starts panicking. He was like, what? When I go, you have the charger in your hand. He was like, well, I didn't know. I thought that was a plate. I go, it's plastic and it's gold. Like we're at a formal banquet. Go back to the table. And I was trying to do that while I was under my breath and acting like I was like, very, very kind. So, the charger is never to be used. It's a decorative element. And it is so necessary on a good table. I love a good charger. The next one is your dinner plate, obviously. Then you're going to have your salad plate and then your appetizer plate.
Okay, so
stacked.
never a bowl, never a salad bowl.
They're going to put a bowl on top of the salad plate. Typically, and here's the thing, Michelle, there's so much etiquette that goes from Europe. Europe has a completely different etiquette. Not different, it's just a little bit more refined, okay, than we do. And and this is what I'm studying right now, is royal etiquette. And so they're very, very, very more refined than we are. And so there's also a lot to know about that. Because if you know that, then you know everything, right? So that's like that's my doctorate level of etiquette. And so, so if you're sitting down at a table and you see a bowl, you can guarantee there's going to be soup served.
Okay.
Yeah, they're going to bring soup to you. But yeah, I think those are just some basic tools.
Okay. I like the BMW a lot. That's an easy way to remember it.
And that's more for setting your table, is that you can go, okay, bread, meal, water, or all the beverages on the right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What about the napkin?
Oh, gosh, napkins. There's an argument about
napkin.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So as soon as you sit down at the table, the first thing you do is take that napkin off the ring and set it on your lap. Okay. What you always want to remember, though, is fold that napkin in half on your lap. And I can't show it here because we're on a podcast, but I do show it on my socials, where you want to take a fold, like you said it, you fold it in half. You want to take the corners of your napkins and blot the corners of your mouth. You never, ever wipe your mouth with that napkin.
Always on the side.
You always on the side, just blot. Okay. Obviously, if you have something stuck on your lip, then you just take a little blot there, but don't wipe ever. And the other thing you never do, and I made a joke about this at the experience, was this is solitary confinement in prison. If that's like the level of offense that you can be charged with, is if you put a dinner napkin around your neck as a bib.
Yes. Who does that?
I do. I have people that I know that will remain nameless that do that because they spill all the time.
I know someone.
I spill all the time. Like Simon is always like, you need a bib. And I'm like, I know. I don't know why I'm doing this.
Your dad used to do
My
that.
dad used to always do that. My sweet dad. He used to always put a napkin around his neck. He's from the country out in Virginia. So anyway, yeah, that's definitely, ladies, please don't do that. And here's the thing. Do whatever you want when you're at home.
Hey, okay. So what about if you're going and you're having crabs or something and they give you those plastic bibs?
Oh, 100%. That's circumstantial. That's
Okay.
You absolutely can do that. That's what I'm
Okay.
saying. If you're at Chick-fil-A or you're at McDonald's or you're at a casual dining restaurant that's just very casual and there's, nobody has even you haven't even had a place setting. You're just sitting at an empty table. Do what makes you comfortable.
Okay.
Use these tools that I'm sharing as a tool in your back pocket to pull out in circumstances like the little brunch we hosted for Bella.
Okay. Let me ask this. So this is not really, I mean, it's kind of on topic, but if you drip something on your shirt, what do you do?
Okay, so you blot it first. You just blot, okay?
With your napkin.
With your
you pick it
napkin.
up, you blot.
You blot. If I need to start, I have run out of mine, but carry a Tide stick or whatever stick that you like to just.
Okay.
I would say excuse yourself from the table and go to the ladies' room or to the men's room and sort yourself out in the bathroom. Don't go to town trying to fix your little stain at the dinner table. That's so inappropriate. So
Okay.
just excuse yourself from the table, then go and get some water, ask for a little bit of salt or a little baking soda if you want to ask for it, if it's a really big deal, and then just kind of wipe that down and blot it as much as you can.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. It's an accident. Go home, pre-treat it, wash it, all the things. But don't deal with all that at the dinner table. Unless, of course, you're in casual dining and it doesn't matter. You're with your family. Everybody's cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So when you go to the restroom, what do you do with your napkin?
So, okay, this is another big argument. I don't know why people are arguing about this. Proper etiquette says to put your napkin on the chair, okay? You don't put it over the back of your chair, although some servers will do that. They'll pick it up and they will fold it and they'll put it over the back of your chair or they'll refold it and put it down at your plate. Proper etiquette says to put it on your chair, okay? Because it indicates I'm coming back. I'm not gone, okay? Also, when you're done eating and you're leaving, you take your napkin, fold it in half again, and you just lay it to the left of your plate.
Not on the plate.
You can lay it on the plate if you want. I would always say it's just more proper to put it on the left of the plate.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the way I feel about it. And I've done a ton of research. With Chloe on our team, I've had to have her check because my etiquette is from the 70s and 80s, that's when I was devouring Emily Post. So I know that it's updating itself and I know that we're becoming a little bit more casual. And I know that there's European etiquette, which is the boss of them all. But again, it's just a tool.
Okay.
It's just a tool. Yeah. But if you have also the other question I always get about etiquette with napkins is, what do I do if I drop the napkin on the floor? Mm-hmm. So you want to pick that up and you want to ask the server to bring you a fresh napkin and hand the server the napkin that fell on the floor.
Okay.
That's if you are a nice environment and you want to have your manners.
You don't just kick it under the table?
No. Well, depending on who's watching, you want to just push that over there, please. But yeah, I mean, you see, and that's the thing I want to share here is that you were just saying, when we had Bella's 21st birthday brunch here at my house. You can go to my YouTube channel and watch the vlog that we did to show how we set it up. We want to also equip you guys on how to do these lovely little events in your home. This was in my home. We were not even at a restaurant, and Michelle felt a little bit, and you're around me all the time. So she knows the etiquette, but it's still a little intimidating when you're sitting at a beautiful table and you're like, oh, and it was just her mother-in-law, her sister-in-law, me, her daughter, and my daughter. So we're all family, but it's the essence of the environment that makes you want to just do things correctly.
Absolutely.
And that's the things I want my daughter and son to learn. I taught them this very early in their age, and Bella's learning it, and everybody's learning it alongside of us. I think it's super important that young girls learn this, because I'm going to tell you, if you're at a job interview or you're meeting your boyfriend's parents for the first time, or you're going out to a nice dinner with other people, If you know your etiquette, you know how to walk in a room, you know how to leave a room, you know how to shake a hand, you know how to make conversation, you know how to be at a dinner table. If you know those things, you are going to be separated from the masses. You're going to be seen as a step above the rest. And that, dear friend, is what I want for you. If you are watching this, you're part of my community now, you're my friend, and I truly want to equip you with the things that you need in order to be elevated above the rest. Okay, now we're getting into tea time where we not only enjoy a nice cup of tea. Y'all, I really believe that having a cup of tea is another way to pull that feminine out of us because we're really feminine here. But not only are we going to have a nice cup of tea, but we are also going to spill the tea. So, Michelle, I know you have a nice email that we received that we want to read and answer. So let's get started on that.
All right, you're gonna have to really focus because this
Okay.
is long.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
I haven't even read it yet.
All right. Let's go. I'm
It's
ready.
long. Are you
Gonna
okay?
enjoy my tea while you're talking.
All right. I was married for 11 years. My husband passed away from cancer this past October. When he passed, our children and I were immediately confused as the house actually felt more calm and happy with him gone. We're trying to figure out why that was. Is there a possibility to have a husband, father who is not overly cruel, but are still doing damage to people?
Absolutely.
Oh,
That's
okay.
a really good one.
When I look back, I can see he didn't spend time with us. I thought it was because he was busy with so much work. About a month before he passed, he told me he had been cheating on me
I
our
knew that was
entire
coming.
marriage.
I knew that was coming.
Why would he tell me such a thing, knowing he was dying and could keep that hidden forever? Is it wrong to be very angry at him? How could I avoid being in a situation like this in the future? I have no intention of seeking a new marriage, but the Lord may have other plans for me. I am autistic and do take people at face value. I'm not sure how to tell if someone is lying. I'm so fearful of getting stuck in another situation like this. As someone who is autistic, I do have a very small social circle. It tends to have been my husband and now my children, as they are in their early 20s now. I don't have family around. My family all live in the UK, and we don't talk more than a few times a year. I'm afraid to trust myself. I carry a lot of guilt having carried my children through life with a father and husband who did not treat his family as a priority. Also, having a father who set them up to fail over and over. Whatever the kids did, he would tell them it was wrong. They have some issues from all this. I feel awful for being the person. I'm sorry. I feel awful for being the reason behind that. I want to teach them how to avoid a situation like this in their future. There was so much more that I had been able to see in hindsight. Too much to try to put here. In short, my husband was wasting our money. He made $180,000 a year. We have nothing to show for that. I'm by no means materialistic, but I always had to go through these intense questions about where I would spend every penny. I spent nothing than other what I had to spend on groceries, doctor trips for the kids. The other part is so difficult that everyone thought my husband was the greatest person. He was so good at being social. I think that's why thought he was just so stressed. He would turn it on for company, and as soon as people left, he was back to his old self, being in the office alone. I feel like such a liar when I came across someone who talks about him and how devastated we all must be. It feels like insult to injury to have him talk so. I'm sorry. It feels like an insult to injury to have to talk so flowery about someone who was not very kind. How should I respond when people bring him up? I appreciate your insights.
How much time do I have?
And I'm like,
Holy cow. First of all, I would like to reach out to the person who wrote this, and I would love to have a session with her. Just FYI to my team. I'm going to give her a free session.
that would be great.
Yeah, that's really a lot. Let me have that because I need to break that apart and answer that
Yeah.
one at a time. I only have a few minutes left on this, so I'd love to spend an hour on this, to be honest with you, because I feel like a lot of people are going to really relate with this. So first of all, I knew she was going to say that when he left, the house felt more peaceful. Let me explain why that is. Because when you are living with the spirit of adultery is the most suffocating, damaging, destructive, constrictive, spirit that you can be commingling with, meaning that you are living in a house with someone who's engaging in an adulterous affair or pornography. That spirit will strangle everyone in the house. This is why, and it's so hard for women who are listening to me right now and going, oh my God, I feel like my husband's having an affair, but I can't prove it. I can't put my finger on it, and I can't find it, but I can feel it. Trust your gut. I'm not saying go into a tailspin about all that, but trust your gut. I can speak a whole 10-hour segment on this, but what I want to say to you is that spirit will strangle a family and a home. That is why you feel so much peace. I knew you were going to say that he had confessed to having an affair. Why did he do that right before he left? I don't know. I can tell you he's probably trying to clear his conscience. People act very differently when they're about to leave this earth, when they're about to die. Maybe if he's a believer, maybe he felt like he needed to confess so he would be forgiven of his sin and actually make his way into the kingdom of heaven. That's a whole nother conversation for another day. But if he was in that position, then that's what he was saying. That's what he was doing.
To relieve his guilt.
To relieve his guilt. Yep. It is not wrong to be very angry with him. Even though he's dead, I empathize with that because you don't have somebody to process it with, which is why I'm willing to give you a free session for that. You don't have somebody to process that with, and that's very, very difficult. But you definitely need to work on healing you. Like, this is the number one most important thing, is for you to find healing that you need and reset yourself for a new life, for yourself first, then for your children, then for your family. But no, you deserve to be very, very angry. That is a very, very, very destructive thing that has happened to you. And I'm very sorry that you are going through this. How do you avoid this situation in the future? Very clear. Change. If you have not watched episode 1 of the Really Feminine podcast, I still love that. Go back to that because I teach all the different emotional frequency scales. And what you need to do is get yourself in the pink zone. You'll hear a lot of this coming out in the future, but I want you to really go watch that and understand how to get yourself into the pink zone, because whatever you are is what you're going to attract. Whatever you came from is whatever you're going to draw in. So I can almost assume that one of your parents had an affair, or someone very close to you must have done that growing up. It is a frequency that we get into based on our upbringing. If we don't make an intention to break that, we will repeat the patterns and the habits, unfortunately. You have to make an intention to break that so that it doesn't continue in your life and in your family. And I want to also tell you that when I speak to you, because I want to speak to you about this privately, I want to give you some tools on how to recreate your future based on your affirmations, based on your thoughts, based on what you watch, based on what you read. You've got to change those things so you can change where you're going. As far as your husband being the most popular guy around, that's because he was overcompensating for all the lying and the cheating behind your back. That is typically what happens with a person who is a compulsive cheater, is they will over-exaggerate their lives in other places so that they can defer or distract from the sin. I can almost tell you 100% he was probably also fully addicted to porn if he was spending a lot of time in his office. That's probably what he was doing, or chatting with any one of his mistresses. I'm so sorry that you have family so far away. But I do promise you that once you start to work on yourself and change who you are as a person, you will 100% see a whole new level of friends come into your life and start to bless you. I hear through your email here that you are a believer, so I can speak to you as a believer and tell you that God will come alongside of you. He has captured every tear that you have cried, and he is holding that dear to his heart, and he will restore 10 times what the enemy has tried to take from you. That is a promise that you can take to the bank. So if you just turn your heart to the Lord and you ask the Lord to relieve you of this pain, to relieve you of this trauma that you're experiencing, and start to open up doors of opportunity and justice for your heart, the Lord will absolutely come alongside of you. One of the things I love about the scripture that says that cast your burdens on me it's a depiction of a camel going to his knees and actually rolling over the pack on his back, like literally rolling it over. And so get a visual in your mind when you're in that quiet time and just imagine yourself going to your knees before the Lord and just rolling over that burden and letting the Lord take those things from you one little step at a time. I definitely think that you have to reestablish your thinking bank because you have conditioned yourself to allow someone to tell you what to spend and how to spend it. Again, that control it is not, ladies, if you're listening to me right now, men too, if you're being hyper controlled and not able to have a free decision for yourself, there is a deficiency in the person who's controlling you. Typically, the person controlling you is the person who is loaded down with trauma. And so one of the ways that traumatic people will express themselves or find their own safety is to hyper control the outside because they really believe that if they can control the environment around them, that they will find safety within themselves. It's a false truth. It's a truth they believe, but it's completely false. It is a way of handling your life. When you are in control of your life, you are Lord of it, and God is Lord of it, of none. So you have to allow God to come in and speak to you about those things and show you and just listen because he honestly wants to speak to you more than you want to hear from him. So I would say to you, ladies and men who are listening, if you're in a controlling relationship, understand that it is not about you. There's not a place that you can get that is so perfect that the person controlling you will stop controlling you. That is an issue they have to defer out to themselves. The only thing you can do is build the boundaries and not allow that. Anytime now, because let me tell you, I'm a recovering control freak. I was hugely codependent because I was surrounded by dysfunction for a long time. When I started learning the freedom formula for myself, I understood that I was only in control of my space, the space around me, which I call my field of blessing, or in science, it's the tortial field. I understood I had 9 feet in diameter. That was the only space I could control. And so I got busy working on me, but that didn't mean that the people around me who were very condescending, very disrespectful, very strong, that doesn't give you permission to speak to me like that. Once I got in control of my space, then I understood you can't violate my space any longer. And I mean that with your words. I mean that with your intention, with your passive aggressiveness. I just don't allow it anymore. So I will literally put a boundary up, pull myself back, and get myself back to my center. You are responsible for your joy. You are responsible for the health of your life, the health of your home, and the health of your children. You are. We cannot defer that out to other people and think, well, if he can get it together, if he can stop cheating, if he can stop abusing, then we'll all be happy. No, that's never going to happen. It's only going to get worse and worse. You have to draw a line in the sand and say, enough is enough. Stand up for yourself and know that you will see opportunity. You will see changes. Things will start to happen for you that you never imagined possible when you allow yourself to be in control of yourself and yourself only. You are responsible for that. So I would say that I hope that helped you. I hope that whenever somebody says to you, oh my God, you must be so sad. You must be hurting so bad, because of course they're going to say that. They're trying to console you. I want to say this to you. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to dishonor his name, because then you look like the bad person still. Just say, thank you very much. I appreciate your prayers, and walk away. I know that feels fake, but you don't want to put mud out on a dead person. There's no future in that. So I hope that helped.
It did. I wanted to just ask you,
Yeah.
so with her children, the effect that it's had on the children, because I have a friend that's in a similar situation, that the damage has been done to the kids.
Yep.
And it's affecting them. And
Yep.
if they're not open to go to therapy, what advice could you give? If it's just affecting every aspect of their life.
Is your friend's children, are they adults over 18?
Yes.
I would say, and this is my answer for that, is when you change, everything around you changes. So if they're under 18 and they're still living in your roof, I would make them go to therapy, because they have to have a safe place to talk, and they're not going to talk to you unless it's a radically weird, like situation where they're just going to open up and talk. But I would say that if they're under the age of 17 or 18 and they're still living in your house, I would make them I wouldn't give them a choice because they have to have somebody to process with and they have to have somebody else give them tools. The second thing is I would say if they're not willing to do that, when you change everything around you changes. So if you begin to you begin to make the differences in your life and then you let the overflow of that new you just bless them, they'll start to come in. They'll start to come in closer. But you cannot be their therapist. You cannot be their the one that tries to level the field, the one that is constantly telling what they're doing wrong. You genuinely have to be empathetic and patient with your children when they're traumatized. You definitely do. But that's a good question.
Yeah.
I would say and then pray. I mean, prayer is, listen, my kids are 33 and 30. I'm praying for them all the time. When I see them moving into a different direction that aligns with what I think they should be doing, that doesn't align with that, I just start praying for them. And I ask God to bring them back to that center point. Yeah. And it always works. Yeah. So I hope that helped you guys. I hope that answer has spoken to some of you out there who are listening and might actually identify with this. Okay, now we're going into the segment called My Freedom Formula, which is also, I know I keep saying this, but it could be one of my favorite. Michelle, I'm going to talk about the circle of friends. I know this has been something that has totally changed my life, and I know you.
This could be one of my, for sure, favorites.
Is the circle of friends, right?
Yeah.
It's just so easy and it's so freeing. So here we go. One of the things I learned a long time ago was because in my codependent days, which I'm free from, thank you, Jesus. But in my codependent days, I found myself trying to level everyone's field to secure myself because I struggled with rejection most of my life. And so if I felt like I was being rejected, I would try to level the field so that I wouldn't be rejected. So that would be any number of behaviors that I did. But when I learned about it wasn't my responsibility to do that, then I learned that I could just put people where they belong. Then I took it a further step, which was even more freeing. And I thought, I don't have to put people where they belong. People put people where they belong. Because that was just another place for me to push back that control that I had and go, you know what? You get to put yourself where you belong on my circle. And how do you do that? I'm going to explain it. Here we go. So here is what I call my circle of friends. We're going to have level 1. We're going to have level 2. We're going to have level 3. And for those of you listening and not watching, I'm going to tell you that these are circles I'm drawing. So almost like a target. And we have the little tiny circle in the center is 1. And number 2, number 3, and the circles get bigger and bigger and bigger. And number 5. And then I have number 10, which is the abyss. And that is like the deep black hole of the universe. So here are my circle of friends. Okay. So as you can see, I hope is this going to be okay here? Okay. You can see that level 1 is a tiny little circle like this. Okay. And that means that not very many people can fit in there. I have 2 to 3 people in my level 1. That's it. You don't need a whole crowd in your level 1. You just need 2, maybe 3. The next one is the level 2. Now, the level 1, let me back up. The level 1 is your ride or dies. These are the people that know everything about you inside and out. You could just be friends for 2 years. It doesn't have to be a lifetime friend, but you guys have connected on a deeper level. You know that you can depend on this person. They are your ride or die. They know it all and they love you just the same. And they're always there for you. They're not like a depleter. They're not somebody who sucks the life out of you, but they also make deposits all the time. Okay, that's your 1. Your number 2 are the people that you love, you do life with. They probably don't know it all, probably don't need to know it all, but you still love them and you still do life with them all the time. You might go to church with them. You might be in community with them in groups. You might, work together, coworkers. You might have, these might be the friends of the parents of your kids' friends that you do a lot of life with all the time. Level 3 is going to be those friends that you see once or twice, maybe 3 times a year. They might be extended family members. You love being around them. You just don't have a whole lot in common, but you still love them, but you're just not spending a whole lot of time together. And they might even get a Christmas card from you, okay, every year. Level 4 are going to be those people that you're like, you know what? I see you out and about. It's good to see you. How are the kids? Yeah, great. You mainly see each other on social media, but you're really not spending a whole lot of time together. You might run into them. You do like them. There's no offenses there, but you just kind of like got to keep them a little distant for whatever reason. They're not really able to live in your inner two circles. Okay. Level 5 is you know them from Facebook. You haven't seen them in 25 years, and they're safer there. You might have a level 2 that turns into a level 5. I'm going to explain that in just a moment. But these are different levels that I have put in my head. Now, the freeing part of this is that I am not the one putting people in these circles. I just made the qualifiers between me, myself, and me. I made myself a little list of qualifiers that would qualify you to be in my 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, or 10. You can make whatever qualifier you want, but this is my qualifier, okay? I have it in my head. When someone shows me who they are, I decide where they go. So if there's somebody who's very backbiting, gossipy, that means they're going to be doing that about me. So they're probably going to be at a 4. If that's somebody who is very self-absorbed and never has any space for anyone else to talk except for them, they're probably going to be in my level 4. If it's somebody who is an acquaintance or even a family member or somebody that you really do love, but you cannot coexist with them, but you do love them, but they get on your nerves, that's going to be probably your level 5. And the thing I want to show you about that is that the further away they are from you, which is just this little dot in the center, okay, the further they are away from you, the less you can hear them, the less their words impact your life. So they just belong out there. And so you can literally say, one of my spiritual daughters said the other day, this person's never going to be in my under 5. And because she watched me teach this at the retreat, at the experience retreat, she said, this person's never going to be in my under 5. I love that she said that because she's getting it. She's saying like 5 and under, you're not going to be there. You're going to stay on the outside of level 5. Okay. Level 10 is the abyss. Level 10 is, this is my boundary for myself. You have intentionally set out to hurt me or my family or my marriage. You're out. When you have an intention to try to hurt me, my kids, or my marriage, you are completely out. Meaning there's no discussion about it. There's no like, oh, well, this is what I was thinking. I don't have there's no court, there's no jury. It doesn't matter. You set an intention to hurt my kids, my marriage, or me, like bad. There's no more discussing. You get blocked on everything. Blocked on social media, blocked on email, blocked on my phone. There's no more discussing. I have forgiven, for sure, have forgiven these people. I have gone into prayer about it. I have prayed over them and asked the Lord to bless them and set them free, but no more access. And some people who are super, super religious, air quotes, will say, well, that's not very Christian of you. Well, I have forgiven them. Let me speak to that. Forgiveness does not mean you have to spend time with somebody. Forgiveness does not mean that you're saying what you did is okay. Forgiveness is saying, I am releasing myself from the toxic poisoning of being in unforgiveness towards you. So I'm going to bless you out. I'm going to ask the Lord to bless you and heal you, and I'm moving on. So that's how number 10 is for me. Very few people have gone to 10 in my life because I'm just a lot less cutthroat than I used to be. So going back to these level of friends, you can absolutely, and I teach on this way deeper in my Freedom Formula course that I'm releasing and also at the experience if you want to plug into any of these. But for now, I will tell you, you can decide where these people go. And so I've had people in my 2 and 3s that have shifted seasons themselves. So whatever's going inside of them, they're hurting. So they're setting out to hurt other people. And so I have found, okay, maybe this is the right season. So the behavior changes, the words change, the attitude changes, the responses and reactions change. They're more offensive. They're more passive aggressive. They're more gossipy. They're more mean. I don't say, hey, just wanted to call you and let you know I'm moving you from my level 3 to my level 5. I don't do that. I just know that when you're in a 5, I'm not hanging out with you. I'm not inviting you to my parties. I'm not like, I'm going to see you on Instagram. I might like a picture. I'm going to see you out and about maybe once a year. I'm going to hug you, say, how are you? But you're at a safe distance from me that you will not be able to hurt me because the fruit of your life is showing me that you don't align with who I am in this season of my life. So right now, and I used to be very dysfunctional. Michelle can tell you that because she's been in my life a long time. I used to be very dysfunctional. So I was only vibing with other dysfunctional people. So I was surrounded by a lot of crazy people because that's who I was. But as I've started to heal and clean my life up more, I'm looking forward more. I'm looking towards where I want to go. I'm not looking towards where I've been. I'm looking towards the future. I'm looking towards alignment, and I'm asking God to align me with strong, healthy women who love God with all their heart and are focused on growing family, growing love and life together. Not perfect. We all have our meltdowns, and that's fine, but we know the core root of who people are. So that's what I wanted to tell you about that, is that you can move. Like, so for me, I've actually taken people and gone, okay, no worries. I can see what you're showing me. I still love you. I still release you, and I'm just going to slide you out to a 5. Or if you're in my 2, I'm going to slide you out to a 3 or a 4. You get to determine that. And I will teach a lot deeper than that in my course, and also at the actual experience retreats, because I can't get it all here in 15 minutes, but I will do a lot more teaching on that so it can equip you in that. So I hope that helps you. But for real, write down all the people that are in your life, coworkers, even family. Listen, it's okay to put your parents in a level 4. It's okay. It's okay to put your sister or brother or cousin or aunt or uncle or wherever you're at. It's okay. Because what it's going to do is going to make you value that relationship more when they don't have access to your heart. Now, the other side of that coin is, let me speak to that. You don't want to be isolating yourself in a corner of offense, meaning everything offends you. Everything makes you angry. Everything goes to a level 5, because then you find that you are really the common denominator in all the issues. So take an inventory list of all your friends and go, you know what? This person is actually really mean. This person never shows up when they say they're going to. They're canceled at the last minute all the time. They don't respect anything but themselves. That's not a person I really want to get close to. So I'm going to take that person and gently move them in my mind to a level 4 or level 3, whatever you're comfortable with. You might see that somebody's in your 1 or 2 and they're like being really crazy all of a sudden. And you're like, you know what? I don't want to deal with this anymore. So right now I'm in a season, for me, I'm in a season of moving to another level. I'm in a season of healing my body from my younger years of being under so much stress. So I am going to be very particular about who I spend my time with, where I can just be off. Okay. That means, like, who can I be around that I can just be myself and not be judged and talked about behind my back? That's what I'm looking forward to now. And listen, you don't have to say, are you a person that will not judge me? No, you don't have to do that. You just have to sit back and watch people. They'll show you who they are. They will show you who they are. And you also don't need to make excuses for moving them out of your circle. You just quietly, gently do that and let them stay there. It just means you back out of the invitations. If they invite you to things all the time and you're like, every time I'm around you, I walk away stressed. I walk away angry. Like, it's your job to center yourself to your joy, to your pink zone. If that person drags you back down to the red zone, you don't need to be in that relationship. You can just place them on a different shelf and then move on. And one of the things I do, for those of you that don't know, I'm a Christian and I love Jesus with all my heart. But what I do is I go to the Lord and I say, will you bring me? And I will literally, it's like I'm going through the drive-through at Chick-fil-A or McDonald's or whatever. I would like to have, and I custom order the exact thing I'm looking for in a friendship. So Lord, will you bring me someone who is this, who is that, who is this, who is that for this season of my life? I need wisdom around me. I need people who are above and beyond where I'm at, because I need to draw myself up to higher circles. And I don't want to be around people any longer that draw me down to the red zone, which is fear, grief, apathy, all of those really negative places to be. So I hope that helps. Do you have anything to add to that? Because I know you've done that in your friendships.
No, I think it's great. I love that people always show you who they are. So it takes the
Yes.
pressure away from us
Yes.
to where we don't have to say anything.
Yes.
And they do it to themselves.
That's it.
So their actions will always speak louder than the words.
That's right.
So it's really freeing.
That's right. I hope that helps you guys. I really do, because it does change everything, and you can get out of being the executioner. So enjoy that. If you want to check us out on the coming up experiences to learn more about this, go to carlashellis.com and you'll see the experience there and the next ones we have booked. So we had a great talk today. I feel like we covered some really good stuff.
We did.
With
really did.
the table etiquette, and then that precious lady that we answered her question on. That was really sad.
That was really sad.
I'm really excited about connecting with her.
I know I am too.
And I hope that somebody listening actually can relate with that and actually had some information from that.
I think there's probably a lot of women that are in that situation.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And I do want to speak into that at some point in the future, because I think it's a very important subject that we address. It's a very hard subject, is adultery and everything around that. But it is a place that women suffer greatly in, and men do as well. But I definitely want to give some tools for that, because I hate that people suffer there. Mm-hmm. And then also, of course, our last conversation is about the circle of friends. And I really, I've heard nothing but good feedback on that when people receive that tool. So anyway, I love that you're here with us. Thank you for joining us. We love sitting here talking with you on the Really Feminine podcast. I would ask that you go subscribe, like, and comment wherever you are watching this or listening to this, because it helps us to continue to bring you this information. Also, make sure and not to forget to go check out bochys.org, BOCHYS.org. It's all down in the description for you to find what we are doing there to help women who are exploited. Also, Michelle, like this lady that we just read, that's an exploited heart.
Mm-hmm,
that's
absolutely.
an exploited heart. And so if you have a heart for people like this, or you've been affected by something like this, it would be a great help for us in the philanthropical work that we're doing behind the scenes to come alongside of young girls who are from exploited homes, who've been exploited in their home, who have been molested or sold for sex. We are working behind the scenes to help restore those young girls and give them tips and tools. So we could use some support if you want to go to bochys.org and take a look at that. Otherwise, we will see you on the next episode of Really Feminine Podcast.